you'd be like, Johnny, why are you being so hard on spiritual, psychic, and intuitive people? Why? Why are you doing this? Because if I see what's the point of trying? I'm not okay. So there is a point where you already know the answer, right? You don't need to just, yeah, sure. There are beginners who don't know about any, psychic, spiritual, or law of attraction, but I can tell that there are a lot of spiritual people and psychic people. They already know the answer. It's just that they haven't took the time to study other subject. That I took the time to study the subject, right? And you see a problem, and when you see a problem, clearly what's causing the problem, shouldn't you want to help them? Shouldn't you want to solve the problem instead of letting it not? What's the point of that? What's the point of changing the status quo if you don't try to change it, right? So most people would think that, oh, I'm just reading. Most of the time, I live in my head, right? I remember back in the day, the lady who used to work here, she would say, go outside, go outside. Or the social worker always comes and say, you should go outside. It's like, no, I live best in, I'm introverted, right? If I'm introverted, I was like, I don't feel like going outside. I'm more interested in other things than going outside. Like, people would be going, I don't know if people like nature. That's good, like nature. But I'm saying, like, most of the time, I live within my right brain, my imagination most of the time, because I find it fascinating. And of course, anime and other things. But I wanted to talk about something that's very common in the spiritual, psychic world, that it's causing them pain, it's causing them suffering, but they just don't want to listen because they don't see it, because they live in this world where they're not grounded. It's okay to be spiritual. It's okay. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be spiritual. You say, John, how can you say this if you're not even psychic or in tune? I am. How can you not say I'm not? What's the point of me not being in tune with myself? Isn't that the whole point of being one with everything? Like, connected with the whole universe and consciousness, right? But you get to a point in place where you hear enough time that you have to pattern recognize, hey, this is a problem for you guys. You can see that it's not working. Change it, right? What's the point of, if it's not working, why don't you just change it, right? So the thing that I'm getting at is, spiritual people live up to spiritual things, like other dimensions, other things that they forget. Like, they live in that world. Psychic people are very in tune, right? Intuitive. And whatever they see, like, the ghosts or dead bodies or, channeling, those type of things, fine. But you have to be grounded too, right? And this is why I call it, why psychic and spiritual people or intuitive people must live in dualities. Because I live in duality. I live in both. I cannot choose side, because if you go to the extreme, you wonder why people can't understand you, and you're saying people can't understand me because I'm just weird. I'm a misfit. I'm an outcast. No, it's just because you don't understand human dynamics, and you're wondering why there are things. So there's things that you do online and offline, right? Online, sure, you find like like-minded people and people understand you, but in reality, there's offline reality, right? There's not no damn virtual reality shit. So you deal with people where people don't even, like, if you like, so that's what caused Jehovah's Witness people, what caused religion people to be misunderstood, because they can't connect with people at a base level. You have to be able to connect people at a base level, like a very, very common level. And you can't just go above and beyond. Yeah, people know the basics, right? So I see a lot. So what made me want to do this video? Because I see a lot. And I remember that day when I was working as a cashier, and I was ringing up the woman lady. She was like an older lady, and she was psychic. And guess what I did? That's right. I related to her because I'm her. But nobody could understand. Nobody. I was teaching while I was working. Okay, I was teaching people. Nobody, because people there, they don't know. So they don't read. Most people don't read. Most people don't learn. So they can just, and they don't have the really understanding of anything. Not trying to look down, but they just don't. They're just on their phone most of the time, talking nonsense, talking bad about other people, and people pushing each other down, and not physically, but mentally, emotionally, and it's not good placed. Because I see it. Anyway, so I connected with her, and I was like, I understand, yeah, psychic. I didn't get weirded out because I know about it. Just I study it, use it, not into the point where psychic, like psychic people were intuitive, right? Because that shit must be trained. That shit must be trained, right? Like meditation and all that concentration. That's shit trained, right? If you train something enough, you'll be good at it, right? And so I was like, yeah, I understand. I told her, yeah, I know most people don't understand. Like, I try to get her, make her feel like she's at home and safe. And then I was like, yeah, so, spiritual and psychic. What was it? Yeah, psychic is Greek for mind. It's just the mind. That's it. But then. And then it's like, yeah, and then I can see her that she felt understood, right? And she was glad that, she was glad that I was a cashier. And she's like, how come I never see you? And she was glad, right? And so she went on and she was happy. And you see, if you want to be understood by people, you have to dumb down this thing that you say. You cannot go above and beyond the things the average person don't understand. That's the problem. You must live in dualities. And you'll be like, no, I must live in the spiritual world. I must live in that world because I live it. But the problem is, you're going to hate it. Like, you hate you want the interaction. You want people to understand. You want to be accepted by them, don't you? Or you don't. Because they're not you. But come on. If you say everything is one, then aren't we the same? I mean, aren't we vibrational beings that emit frequency? And, we can increase it, decrease it, those type of things. I wonder. If all human beings are the same, we might not think the same way. We might raise our frequency the same way. It's just like the conspiracy theory stuff. It's all fluff, right? And you'll be like, no, it's not fluff. I understand it. But you have to have a human connection with other people. I'm not good at it. I always try to work on it. It's not easy, right? It's people, man. People are like complicated because they live complicated life, and people are complex. There are different dimension to them, right? Just like our astral body is within us. They say we don't have it. We do. When we die, we're gonna astral project out of our bodies, and we're gonna turn into ghosts, which later will meet other beings, right? But you have to live with other people. You live with other people. So if you deal with other people, you have to deal with them, right? So you can't say, oh, people can't understand me. It's because you're way too spiritual and psychic. Learn how to connect with people. That's a skill set that you must develop, right? It's a skill set. It's not because, let's say, because you live in the world and people tell you, oh, it's a lie, and then you just found out that truth, and somehow you're awoken, right? This is what happened when awoken people or spiritual awakening people are being misunderstood because you live way out there. Because, we're talking about what, if you understand the flower of life or the ancient flower of life. Oh yeah, trust me, I have books on it right there. Flower of life, right? Or the third eye, right? Normally people don't talk about that. Normally people don't even talk about that shit at all. You know what people talk about? Sports, TV, movies, shopping, the everyday average stuff that people talk about, right? People don't talk about, oh, I'm gonna ascend. People don't really talk about living the greatest life. No. Or people gonna or living your dreams or vision. Nah. So there is the duality that you must live. You have to be in dualities. Like, for instance, right and left, or logic and imagination. Both is dualities. Can you live in dualities, or you will live in extreme and be misunderstood? If you can be misunderstood, if you like that way, okay. But if you cannot like that way, well, there must be a change in your way that you think about it. Because if I didn't try to connect with her, and I thought it was weird because this weird notion about psychic is weird, and then I lose out on someone that I could have made happy, right? You think about that. You think about it deep, so deep, and you wonder, maybe he's right. Maybe I should live in dualities. Man, goddamn, I don't want to be misunderstood by people. Interesting. I mean, you will always be misunderstood by people, because some people do always either don't like you, hate you, stuff like that. But it's up to you to change that. I'll see you next time. Just think about it, psychic people, spiritual. And remember, we're not just all one. We're energy. That's right. Think about that deep. Energy. What is energy? You cannot create it or be destroyed. Just how you project, right? Use your third eye. Don't worry. Let me send vibrations.